So just start off by introducing yourself.
My name is Barbara Norris.
What do you do for work? Because now you're retired, right?
Yes, I'm basically retired. So the majority of my adult life, I was a stay-at-home mom, although I did do some waitressing and lots of studenting. So I was in business courses and I was studying to become a paralegal. And unfortunately, my life path changed with illness. And so I was again back to being a stay-at-home mom and raising kids, sometimes as a single parent.
I remember you were doing courses with the Spanish people.
Yes, actually, I did. I took my certificate online just last year to teach English as a second language, and I'm focusing on teaching Spanish-speaking people that are coming into Canada. I don't have any students right now. I am trying to set up an area to actually have a classroom, and I will charge less than the usual schools charge. And at the same time as I'm teaching them English, I've been learning Spanish. So it's been quite the adventure.
Awesome. If you could have any car, what would it be?
I would have a Forester. So is that a Subaru? A Subaru Forester. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I like the fact that they're heavier, so I think they're more sure-footed. They're all-wheel drive, and so that's important for me in the winter because I'm a fairly nervous winter driver. So having the all-wheel drive and the more heavier weight of the vehicle gives me more confidence for driving on Calgary's icy roads that we get here and there.
Okay. Interesting. Do you drive now?
I drive a little Dodge Caliber, and it's been a pretty good car.
Would you say you make enough to live comfortably in Calgary?
Yes and no. I mean, I'm just on pensions, so I have enough to survive as long as I don't try to indulge in any luxuries. So I wouldn't say that my income gives me any kind of mad money. If I have a crisis in my life, I have to save up for quite a while to have the money to meet that crisis. So
Do you find that Canada supports seniors or older people in any way?
well, obviously, we're very fortunate to be in a country that does give us the old age security and in Alberta, we get the Alberta Seniors Benefit as well, and then there's the Guaranteed Income Supplement. So they bring us not quite up to speed. We are still considered below the poverty line if you're living on just pensions.
Yeah.
But there are programs, that help, such as, the housing where I live is government housing, so it's geared to my income, which makes it affordable. I can't imagine being out in the open market for rents and being on pension. I do have some friends that have mortgages and they're surviving from the food banks because the money just is not there to provide for the rent, and the utilities have gone sky high. So I'm sure that, we would all enjoy having a raise in the pensions for the seniors. But where's it going to come from? That's the big question.
Rich people, what's the brokest you've ever been, and what did you do to survive?
The brokest I've ever been is, well, I could go way back. When I was 18 years old, I hitchhiked from Calgary to Montreal with 37 cents in my pocket. And I survived on basically the generosity of others until I got a job out there in the airport hotel. And I was there for about 9 months and realized that I preferred to live in Alberta at home where I was born in Calgary. So I came back. Other than that, I struggled for several years with medical issues. And so I raised my kids sometimes on only $900 a month with 5 children under my roof. And it was tough, but somehow we managed.
Would you say Canada is still the dream for most people, or do you think it's overrated?
I think a lot of people are disillusioned that Canada is the dream place, that they're going to come here, they're going to immigrate here, and they're going to have the great job and lots of money and the big house, and it's just going to fall in their lap. But that is not the reality. The reality is they come, they struggle. A lot of them have careers in their own countries that are not recognized, so they have to take, um, the lesser quality jobs, and they have to work their way back up to where they might have been in their own country. There's lots of area here, but I don't think that I would say that the opportunities are as great as what they are portrayed to be to immigration people.
Something Canada does terribly that no one talks about.
I think Canada is terribly lacking on its outreach and help for the homeless and the drug problems that are coming up in our country. More and more people are turning to drugs, and this is driving them into homelessness, and there just are not enough programs and outreaches and or even empathy and compassion for people who fall into that trap. My opinion is, I don't think there's anyone that gets up one morning and says, "Oh, hey, I want to be an addict." But for whatever happens in their life, their crisis, or they're looking for, just fun, and they fall into the trap of addiction, and it's not easy to get out. And I think Canada needs to focus on that problem and find solutions for those people.
What's one thing politicians always lie about?
Hmm. I think politicians always make promises that they're going to give less taxes and more benefits. And then once they're in office, you don't see the fruition of their promises. So they'll say whatever they can to get the votes when the voting is going on.
Do you think there should be something that holds them liable if they make a promise and they don't live up to it?
Absolutely, they should be as it's supposed to be. The politicians are supposed to be answerable to the people, but a lot of people feel like they can't do anything in regards to what the government's doing. How do you fight the government? I've heard that so many times in my life, but the truth is that the government works for us, and we should be able to step up as a people and say, wait a minute, you promised this and you haven't brought it to fruition, so maybe we can call for you to be voted out or bring you to task on the promise that you made.
Yeah. What's the one law you would change right now if you were in charge?
If I was in charge, the one law I would change?
Yeah.
That's a really good question. I think that I would take the taxes off of the seniors' pensions. A lot of seniors, they're only living on their pensions, and yet the government still taxes that. And the majority of them are people who've worked hard for 40 or 50 years of their lives. They paid into their taxes through all those years. And now that they're receiving their pensions, the government's still taking taxes off of that.
If you could wake up tomorrow with 3 things instantly changed in your life, what would they be?
3 things changed in my life. The first thing would be Alberta's health care. I think that Alberta needs incentives to bring doctors back to Alberta because our healthcare is really suffering, and nurses, because the healthcare system is so messed up that many, many people left our province, especially just after COVID. The second thing I would do is I would put community services in each community of the city for senior people, like a lot of seniors that um, people they know, people, their loved ones have passed on before them, and a lot of them end up in situations where they're alone. And so some of the things that are accessible for seniors are only centrally located, which makes maybe it's difficult for them to get to those places. Whereas if the community centers in each community was utilized on a weekly basis for senior drop-in or, crafts or games or, adult coloring or just get together in a knit and crochet corner or stop in for a coffee and a cookie, just any kind of drop in to eliminate that feeling of being alone as a senior, because there are a lot of seniors that are forgotten. And that was two, but I can't really think of a third one at the moment.
What's the one lesson you learned the hard way that you wish everyone knew?
Life is short. When we're younger, we all think we've got forever. But the truth is, when you get up to being a senior and above, you look back and realize how quickly it really passed. And the older you get, it seems like the faster the time goes. And I kind of figured that out because the older you are, the longer it takes you to put your socks on in the morning.